UFC 321 coming up this weekend, where we have Tom Aspinall defending his undisputed heavyweight championship against GANE. And also we have a rematch in the co-main event with JANDIROBA taking on DERN for the vacant strawweight title. This is the full card predictions. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and let's get the picks underway. First fight of the night, we got Jacqueline AMORIM taking on Mizuki Inoue. I'm picking Jacqueline AMORIM. I think she can win by submission or decision. I just can't, pick a INOUE who has been, inconsistent. 2 years layoff. Our last fight against Hannah Goldie, she did all right in there. But again, you look at the competition. Yes, she's fought, Virna Jandiroba. She fought Amanda Lemos. She fought Karolina Kowalkiewicz as well. But she was supposed to, make her run about 6-7 years ago. Now we're getting her after, years of injury, years of a layoff against a pretty complete fighter in Jacqueline AMORIM. Her striking is still developing, but I do think she has the power. I do think her length is going to be a factor, and she's definitely the better jiu-jitsu practitioner of the two. Where we look at INOUE, majority of her wins have come by submission. 9 wins by submission. I don't think she's going to submit Jacqueline AMORIM. I think if they hit the floor, which they will, I think Jacqueline is live to submit her. I think she could finish her in first or the second round. So I'm picking AMORIM submission or decision, but I'm definitely leaning by submission. Look at the odds, -400 for Jacqueline, +330 for INOUE. I'm on Jacqueline as well. Next fight, we got Azat Maksum taking on Mitch Raposo. I'm picking Azat Maksum. I think he can finish Mitch Raposo as well. I know, you look at the matchups that Mitch Raposo has had, Andre Lima, Sumadarji. Both of them are long flyweights as well. But I don't know. I just feel like Azat presents something a little different that Mitch Raposo hasn't. Well, I mean, he's seen it, but I think Azat is just going to be a little quicker to the punch than Mitch Raposo. He throws a lot of looping right hands. He's going to look to wrestle a lot. I think he's going to leave his neck exposed. Azat has some really skinny arms. I think he'll be able to defend pretty easily too. We just saw him, defend all 8 of Tagir Ulanbekov's takedowns in their matchup a couple months ago. He has a loss to Charles Johnson, but he had Charles Johnson in some testy spots, in that fight as well. I think the length, the size, the power of Maksum that he can definitely create is going to be an issue for Mitch Raposo. Raposo's not bad, but I don't think he's UFC level. I think, he got the short notice step in for the Lima fight. UFC gave him not a bone. Sumadarji is definitely not a bone, but another fight to see, where he was. I don't think he's developing as much as he should. I feel as though, he's probably going to lose here. I think he will lose inside the distance. I think he needs to go back, to the regional scene, develop some more, get the striking going, because that's definitely an issue or something that he's going to need to improve on, especially at his size, 5'5", with a 64.5-inch reach. You can't just rely on wrestling, you know what I'm saying? I think Maksum is a guy who's way too developed to just, go out there and try to wrestle him. He doesn't have that great, he's not a great wrestler, but he definitely has some really good takedown defense. So I think Maksum's live to win inside the distance. I don't know if it'll be a knockout or by submission, but I'm picking Azat Maksum to win inside the distance. -350 for Maksum, +285 for Raposo. Rightfully so. I think Maksum is the right pick. Next fight, we got Chris Barnett taking on Hamdi Abdelwahab. I'm picking Hamdi. I'm not confident in him. I don't like him as a fighter. I don't think he's that good. He used to, take PEDs, which is why he has a no contest on his record. Coming off the loss against Mo Usman definitely doesn't age well, but we do have Mo Usman who, just had some elevated testosterone levels, so maybe that played a factor into the fight. I don't know, but Hamdi is not that good to me. He is gonna have a size advantage here. He is gonna be able to wrestle, I believe, because Chris Barnett, as explosive as we knew him to be, I don't think he will have the explosiveness coming off the ACL tear that he had in the Kennedy and Zechiku fight, where he tore it, jumping into the cage right before the fight even started and ended up, getting finished. Chris Barnett, he's definitely undersized for this weight. I mean, He's been trading wins and losses. He was getting beat up in majority of his fights, especially the Jake Collier fight where he was getting beat up in the first round. Came back in the third round, finished Collier, but I can't back him here. As much as I want to see him win, I don't think he will. I gotta go Humpty Dumpty to win and get a legit UFC win. It is what it is, man. Minus 350 plus 285 for Humpty Dumpty. Definitely not putting anything on this fight. Hopefully Chris Barnett, pulls it off. Hopefully he got one more in him and it's sending Humpty Dumpty out of the UFC, but probably not. Next fight, we got a good one. Jose Delgado taking on Nathaniel Wood. I'm picking Jose. I think Delgado is a big combination kickboxer, does rip the body really well. He's got a size advantage. I know, Nathaniel Wood coming up to featherweight. He's been able to hold his own, but a lot of the matchups that he's had are against, smaller featherweights. You look at Morgan Charrier, who could definitely make bantamweight. Daniel Pineda is not that big either. Muhammad Naimov, he's a decent size featherweight. Andre Fili, he's a pretty linky featherweight. Jose Delgado is definitely, a solid size for the featherweight division. 5'11", definitely has some pretty good strength to him too. He's definitely a finisher. This is gonna be a really good fight. I think, Delgado, he's gonna have some nasty kicks. He's really well rounded. 6 knockouts, 4 submissions. I think he's gonna have a power advantage. I think he's gonna have Nathaniel on the back foot a lot. He's gonna have some really long range weapons that still carry the power too. We just saw him finish, Hyder Emil with the knee in the pocket. Connor Matthews finish, and then the finish on the Contender Series. Nathaniel Wood's good, man. I picked him as an underdog in that Morgan Charrier fight, but this is just a different matchup. I do think he's a clean, accurate striker. He does have some pretty good counters. He might have a strike speed advantage in the pocket, but I don't think he's going to have enough to, clip a Jose Delgado. It might work against guys, of smaller stature, but I don't think he's going to be able to clip Delgado. I think Delgado would be the one, clipping Nathaniel Wood. Has been clipped. Wood has been clipped and dropped a couple of times. I could see Delgado dropping him. I don't know if he finishes him. Nathaniel Wood is pretty durable, but Delgado is the type of guy that can finish a lot of people in his division. But I think Delgado's ceiling is a little higher than Nathaniel Wood's. I could definitely see Delgado ending up, top 15, top 10 potential. Whereas Nathaniel Wood, I think, is going to be a prospect killer. His nickname isn't the prospect anymore. It's actually the last Kingsman. So, but I do think Nathaniel will turn into the prospect killer. That should be his new nickname, possibly. This is gonna be a good fight though. I don't know if Delgado finishes him. Like I said, Nathaniel Wood is pretty durable, but I'm gonna go Jose Delgado for the pick. Jose Delgado sitting at minus 145 plus 125 for Nathaniel Wood. Over 2.5 minus 150. Under 2.5 plus 130. It could go to a decision. Could be like a 29-28. I can see Nathaniel Wood, having a little bit of strike speed success early, but I think Delgado turns up the pressure a little late. He has finishes in all 3 rounds, so he's capable of anything, man. Next fight, we got Walter Walker taking on Louis Sutherland. I'm picking Walter Walker. The reason why I'm saying this, not because he's a heavy favorite, but you look at the picture of Louis Sutherland here, and then you go back and look at him on the scales for UFC Perth. Completely different guy. I think he was, doing a little something to beef up himself, things of that nature. I don't think Louis Sutherland is going to be, the gorilla, the striker that we've seen him to be in his tape. I think Walter Walker is going to be able to explode, take him down, and find the heel. So I'm going Walter Walker, heel hook, ankle lock, anything to do with his legs. I think Walter Walker is going to lock it up. I don't think Louis Sutherland is going to have the power or the speed that he had when he was fighting in KSW or LFA. I don't think he's gonna knock out Walter Walker. I don't see him defending takedowns. Maybe he could probably get to the body lock position, but I think Walter Walker will drop down immediately, and he's gonna have to worry about that. So I'm going Walter Walker, first round submission. He's supposed to fight Mo Usman. Mo Usman pulled out of their fight because of the testosterone levels, like I just mentioned. But this is kind of a I think it's gonna be a layup for Walter Walker. I don't think Louis Sutherland is who we thought he was gonna be, especially looking at the difference in the physiques from pre UFC to what he is now. I think he was probably on something. But give me Walter Walker minus 310, Louis Sutherland plus 260, rightfully so. Over, if we could get it, maybe not. If we could get it, maybe not. I guess not. But I'm going Walter Walker round 1, round 2 submission. I don't think we're seeing a round 2 though. Next fight we got Abdul Karim El Sawadi taking on Mateus Camilo. Odds will have you thinking this is a close fight because it is, but I am picking Camilo. I think Camilo can knock out Sawadi. I think Selwady is a guy who gets a little overzealous with his striking. I think he explodes into his takedowns, but I can see him, and he also like dips his head on a lot of his shots too. I think Camilo is just too tactical of a striker to fall for, things of that order. I feel as though he's gonna make right on his debut where, he gassed himself out, tried to find the submission on Gabe Green, had him in a triangle, and immediately gassed out after Gabe Green was able to defend it and got submitted, 45 seconds later. I think I'm gonna attribute that to an adrenaline dump. I think he's gonna come back here, make right on his debut. I think he's gonna knock out El Sawadi because you go back and look at the Loic Rajabadov fight. He was getting clipped, for all 30 rounds. He was getting clipped, he was getting put down, dropped, and then eventually he got knocked out. I don't think El Sawadi is that good. I do think he is explosive. I do think he's powerful, but I think Camilo is too defensively sound. I think he's too tactical, and I think he'll be able to finish El Sawadi. So I'm going Matias Camilo inside the distance over El Sawadi. Camilo sitting at plus 100, minus 120 for El Sawadi. Over 2.5, minus 120, under 2.5, plus 100. I think I think Camilo finishes him inside of 2 rounds. So give me Camilo, the Jaguar, to make good on his UFC debut. Next fight, we got Mateusz Rebecki taking on Ludovic Klein. I'm picking Ludovic Klein. I feel as though this is just way too soon of a turnaround for Rebecki, especially, it's not just the Chris Duncan fight. We got the Chris Duncan fight two and a half months ago, but before that, it's the Mitabek Orlabite fight where he was getting, he was in a dog matchup with him, getting split open there, and then Diego Ferreira knocking him out right before that. It's just an accumulation of damage. You know what I'm saying? Ludovic Klein, yes, he lost his last fight to Mateusz Gamrot, but it's more of a pressure wrestling style. Rebecki isn't that type of wrestler. His setups are more basic, single leg, double leg, blast, or trying to, come at you, trying to take you down, get into like the body lock positions. I think Ludovic Klein will have definitely a better he'll defend those um takedowns a lot better is what I was trying to say, excuse me. And I just think Ludovic Klein is going to be able to beat Rebecki to the punch, who throws a lot of hooks and things. He doesn't really throw a lot of straight shots. Ludovic Klein is definitely down the center. I think he's going to attack the body very well. I can see a lot of body kicks for Klein. I can see him stunning Rebecki. I don't know if he knocks him out, but I can definitely see him stunning him pretty well too. So I'm going Ludovic Klein. I think he gets it done. I think he can win. I don't know if it's KO or decision, but I'm going Ludovic Klein either way. We look at the line, minus 135 for Klein, plus 115 for Rebecki. I think over 2.5, minus 150, plus 130 for under. It's testy when you're going over under in a Rebecki fight, because he could be finished, or we're going to a decision. So I'm going Ludovic Klein. No, I think he's just going to be a little too tactical for Mateusz Rebecki, and I think he's going to get split open again. I think the damage that he just got, the damage that he just received, I think is going to get done again. So give me Klein to win. Next fight, we got Ikram ALISKEROV taking on Jung Park. I'm picking Ikram. I think he is not necessarily a better version of Jung Park because he doesn't really. We haven't seen him use his grappling in the UFC yet. It's really just been his striking, and his striking looks pretty good. You know, he's been knocking out guys since he got into the UFC. He lost to, yeah, sure, he lost to Robert Whitaker, but that was also super short notice where he was sent to Vegas, then he was sent to Abu Dhabi from flying all the way from Russia. So we can forgive him for that. You know, it was Robert Whitaker who at the time was top 3 in the world. I'm not gonna, oh, he's chinny because he got knocked out by Robert Whitaker. I think a lot of people get knocked out by Robert Whitaker. But I think Ikram Maskarov is the better grappler. I think Jung Young Park, he is a pretty he likes to be on the pressure. He likes to take you down. Wants to work to your back and threaten submissions, threaten the ground and pound. But I think Aliskerov will be able to reverse those positions, especially looking at it. He's coming off the Andre Muniz knockout, whereas the last time Park fought Muniz, he was in full mount for a good majority of that first round, I believe it was, and then he's got the win over Ismail Nordayev, who I had as a lock. In their matchup, he beat him after taking a really big knee to the face, too, a legal knee, and then a split decision against Brad Tavares, where Brad Tavares dropped him in that fight, which was kind of surprising because Brad Tavares isn't known for his power. He's more of a guy who's there to fight. He's not gonna just shell up. So that was kind of weird to see. But Ikram definitely has some power on the feet. Definitely can crack. I think, like I said, I think he'll be able to reverse the grappling exchanges, and I think I want to see what Ikram's takedown defense look like because that's definitely something that's going to play a factor into this fight. But I just think he's better overall. I don't see Jung Young Park having much success. Maybe he has a little bit of striking success, but I don't really see it if I'm really thinking. I think Ikram is just gonna be too. I think he's a little faster on the feet too. I think he's gonna have this strike speed advantage and he's gonna have the power advantage. So I'm going Ikram. I think he beats him. I think he beats him by decision. Minus 240 for Ikram Aliskerov, plus 205 for Jung Young Park. Over 2.5 is minus 114. Under 2.5, minus 106. I think I think Ikram is a lock. I'll call him a lock. Next fight, we got the featured prelim of the night. Nasrat Haqparast taking on Quillian SALKIILD. I'm going Nasrat. I think this is a fight where you have to look at the factors. It's a short notice fight, right? And then Quillian is also flying across the world from Australia, whereas Nasrat, I'm not sure. Okay, he's fighting out of Germany, so it's not that far of a fight. I know it's not further than Australia, but I think Nasrat is going to have a strike speed advantage. I think Nasrat is going to defend the takedowns um, better than Quillian's probably expecting. If this stays on the feet, I gotta give it to Nasrat with the hands at least. Quillian does throw a lot of kicks. We saw it in the Ashmoos fight. He will throw, a sneaky question mark kick. He will throw kicks to the body, but I think Nasrat will be able to see a lot of those coming. I think he's going to be able to defend fairly well. I think Nasrat is the better fighter of the two. We also have to weigh in, his UFC experience. We also have to weigh in that he's been through some really testy opponents. You go back and look, he just beat Esteban Ribovic 7 months ago in a split decision. It was a really close fight, and Esteban Ribovic is a really, really good striker. Before that, it was a split decision over Jared Gordon, where, yeah, you could give him some slack. He probably didn't do enough, probably didn't, just did enough, but he still got the win. And then Jamie Malarkey KO, landed Keonis win 2 years ago. He's been putting together a really good run, and a win over a highly touted prospect here, and Quillian SALKIILD could definitely, mention his name in the ranking. So I'm going Nasrat. I think he's better overall than Quillian SALKIILD. I don't think Quillian's gonna have success taking him down. And Quillian was also gassing in that third round. utilizing a lot of grappling. Will he have a bad gas tank if they're stuck on the feet for 3 rounds? I don't know. I can see him being backed up, not because Nasrat has a bunch of power, but I could just see him trying to stay on the outside, similar to what he was doing against. Well, yeah, I think he is going to be on the outside a lot, trying to use his length, similar to what he's doing to Ashmoose. Ashmoose had a lot of power. We saw it in the third round, clipped him. Nasrat doesn't. Does he have more power than Ashmoose? I don't know, but what I will say is he's more physically imposing than the Ashmoose. Ashmoose, I believe, is like 5'6", 5'7", something in that order. Koyan was still backing up. I think Nasrat wins decision. Minus 115, minus 105 for Koyan Southkid. Nasrat opened up as a plus 130 underdog, which is pretty interesting. But I'm going Nasrat to win. I think he wins by decision again. Main card opener. If you guys haven't already, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. We got Alexander Rakic taking on Azamat Murzakanov. I'm going Murzakanov to win. I think he's going to win by knockout as well. Alexander Rakic, since he tore his ACL, he has not really looked the same. He's looking to be more tentative, and even when he is, going for it, he gets knocked out by Yuri Prochazka. Granted, Yuri Prochazka, probably the second best heavyweight in the world, or excuse me, light heavyweight in the world. But there's a lot of moments where you look at Rakic overcommitting on shots, putting himself, in a really bad position to counters, and that's something that you cannot do against Azamat Murzakanov, who is deceptively fast, who has sneaky power, who can crack you on the feet. And yeah, sure, he's 5'10" with a 71-inch reach advantage, or excuse me, a 71-inch reach. But if you look at, the guys that he's fighting, Brendan Ribeiro, 81-inch reach. Alonzo Minifield, 77, I believe. Dustin Jacoby also has a really long reach advantage against him, and he's winning, and not only winning, but knocking majority of these guys out. I think he's going to clip Rakic in the pocket. I can see Rakic trying to force an exchange, seeing that, he's on a 3-fight winning, or excuse me, he's on a 3-fight losing streak. That last fight against Ankalaev, he was very tentative, didn't want to get, countered by anything, stayed on the outside. I think he's going to come out, try and force the issue against the Murzakanov, and we can see Murzakanov clipping him in the pocket, and I think Rakic is getting clipped. And does he get put out the UFC? Probably not, because you look at him and he looks like, a really good athlete. I think a loss here, he's definitely going to have to defend his ranking if he's not booted out. But who would he fight? Trying to think of 205, unranked 205ers. There's opponents for a Rakic, but Mingyang Zhang. That's the first name that came to my mind. Johnny Walker. Give him a Johnny Walker. Not only is it a winnable fight for him, but it's also a fun fight. But I think Rakic is getting knocked out here. I think he's gonna take his 4th loss in a row. Hasn't won since Thiago Santos, which is 4.5 years ago. Not in the UFC. Anthony Smith win. Not in the UFC. Murzakanov throughout that time, he's been putting on wins, putting on knockouts. I think he's getting another one here. I don't see Rakic being the guy to stop Murzakanov. Let's look at the odds. Plus 100 for Rakic, minus 120 for Murzakanov. Murzakanov opened as a plus 130 underdog, which is interesting. Definitely wish I was on it when I saw that, but week by week, baby. Next fight, we got Alexander Volkov taking J.ALMEIDA. I am picking Alexander Volkov. And I say that because I don't believe J.ALMEIDA is this super, well, he is a really good grappler, right? But I guess, I think it's against guys that are below top 5. Like, you look at what he did against Curtis Blades. Shot the double leg, got stuffed, and got hammer fisted cold. Not cold, he rolled over, but whatever. I think that's similar to what's going to happen here against Volkov. Volkov has really good grappling defense. He has his own offensive grappling game. He can submit you. He can knock you out. He can point fight you. We just saw him do that against Sergey Pavlovich. We saw him submit Tai Tuivasa. We saw him knock out Alexander Romanov. And then he got robbed by Cyril Gane, where he took him down, controlled him, threatened some submissions, had some ground and pound, beat Cyril Gane on the feet as well. He's supposed to be in the main event. He's supposed to be challenging Tom Aspinall in a rematch for the belt. I don't see J.ALMEIDA having a lot of success in the grappling with a full size. Well, it's not even full size. This dude is larger than heavyweight. He's 6'7", 80-inch reach. He's large as hell. I don't think he's going to be able to take him down. J.ALMEIDA is really strong. I will say that. He is definitely super strong. But I don't think he's, taking down. He's going to be able to take down a Volkov who can do everything super well. You look at the wins at Sergey Spivak, I think Spivak is one-dimensional. Definitely surprised us with his striking against Waldo Cortez Acosta, though. I will give him some respect there. Alexander Romanov, not in the UFC, known to be a grappler. Curtis Blades, he's a wrestler first. Striking is iffy. Derek Lewis, power puncher, does not have grappling, and he got dominated in the grappling there. And then Jairzinho Rosenstrike, who's a kickboxer. Volkov can do both things incredibly well. I don't think Volkov is going to get dragged to the mat. I think Volkov can fire down some shots down the middle. And J.ALMEIDA's chin is not as solid as I think a lot of people think it is. I think Volkov is going to crack him. I think Volkov is going to knock him out. So give me Alexander Volkov to win by knockout. And Volkov is, if we could find him, a plus 195 underdog. Minus 230 for J.ALMEIDA. A lot of people are believing in the grappling. I don't think it's happening here. Over under minus 130, plus 110 for the under 1.5. I don't know. We saw him knocked out in the first round against Curtis Blades. I don't know if it happens again. Maybe he recognizes the threat of Volkov on the feet. Maybe he's more, calculated with his setup for the takedown. But either way, I think Volkov is going to be able to defend the takedown. I think Volkov is going to be able to beat him. Whether it's on the scorecards or a knockout, I think he's going to beat him. Next fight, Umar Nurmagomedov taking on Mario Bautista. I want to pick Mario here, but I just can't. Like the fan in me wants Mario to win, but I don't think he's going to be able to. I think Umar's going to have a strike speed advantage. He's going to have the smaller base, and he's also going to be able to shoot to the hips a lot faster than, Apache Mix would have. I say that because, Patchy didn't shoot at all. And also, the win over Patchy Mix has aged horribly. Patchy Mix, I don't think he's UFC level. I think, he bit off a little bit more than he could chew. Losing to Jacob Wicklax definitely furthers my statement a little bit more. Umar, we know what his grappling is like. We know he's, training with Habib. He's in that camp. We know what they're capable of. I think he will be able to take down Mario. I think Mario's going to be forced on the outside, trying to, he's going to be more reactive than engaging than what he normally is. If he is engaging, then, hey, maybe we see a different fight. But I think Umar still will be able to take him down. I think he'll be able to control him on the mat. I know Mario has some really good scrambles, but I could see a sequence where Mario is scrambling a little bit too hard. Umar, locks something in, maybe submits him. I can definitely see him, stamping a title shot after that. And we'll probably see Umar versus the winner of Merab Yan 2 come, March, April of next year because of how consistent Merab wants to be in defending his title. But I just think Umar is just a little bit better everywhere. I think he's going to be the aggressor in the matchup. I think he's going to be able to set the pace. I think, he's the only guy that's really going to be able to give Merab a proper, title fight because, he was winning the first 2 rounds up until he broke his hand. And, everybody else that we saw Merab fight, he's been buzzsawing through him. So I think Umar wins. It could be submission or decision. And guess who else thinks Umar is going to win? The entire world. Minus 525 for Umar. Plus 410 for Mario Bautista. Over 2.5, minus 260. Under 2.5, plus 215. Yeah, it could go to a decision. It could be a dominant decision or submission. Has Mario been submitted before? I believe Corey submitted him, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. Trevin Jones and Corey Sandhagen, 2019 armbar. I don't think Umar's gonna knock him out. Damn, 10-2 in the UFC. Mario Bautista is really good, man. I just wish he got a different matchup here. I don't know. Maybe I don't even know how This was the only matchup to make, honestly, because I'm hearing, we're getting Song versus Sean O'Malley, Mario. Yeah, this is really the only matchup that you could have done for him. I don't think it would have been a Song Yadong fight would have got him a title, maybe. Since neither of them fought Marab yet, I would have liked to see Mario versus Corey, but it is what it is, man. This is the game you play. This is what you ask for. This is what you get. Good matchup though, but I do see Umar winning dominantly. Next fight, Verna Jandiroba taking on Mackenzie Dern. I'm picking Verna. I know this is a rematch from 5 years ago, but I will say there's only one fighter out of the two that I believe has gotten better, and that's Verna. Mackenzie Dern, she gets a little reckless on the feet. She throws a lot of, she's like really high pace, high energy, but that leads to her getting tired late in fights. We've seen it time and time before, or time and time again. She overcommits on a lot of shots that she throws, leaving her in really bad position. Excuse me, getting taken down. I think she can get controlled here by Verna. I think out of the two, Verna has the better control. Both of them have really good jiu-jitsu. It could, get nullified by each other. Dern is better from the top, I would say. Um, Whereas Verna can control you from top or bottom. She definitely rolls a lot better than Mackenzie Dern, in my opinion. I think Dern is definitely going to force the action and the striking because she is a better striker than Verna. But I think that's just going to leave her hips open to Verna taking her down. I could definitely see Verna entering with Mackenzie throwing some wild combination. Dern left doesn't really defend the takedowns really well. I can see her just trying to punch at Verna trying to after she's taking her down, and Verna controlling her for the rest of that round, threatening submission. So I think Verna's gonna win. She's definitely improved a lot better. I think she's a better wrestler. I think I think she has a better gas tank. I think Verna is going to be the next champion. I think her only threat in this division was going to be, Zhang Wei Li, but she's moving up to go for, the female GOAT status against Valentina Shevchenko later this year. So we're going to see, man. Oh, wow. A lot of people are on Jandiroba, surprisingly. But guess what? The line says Mackenzie, minus 175. She opened as a plus 170 underdog. Verna is now a plus 150 underdog. I'm going Verna. I'm back in the underdog. I'm going Verna to win and new vacant strawweight title, co-main, and now to the main event. If you haven't already, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. We got Tommy Boy Aspinall taking on Cyril Bongamin Gane. The pick is going to be, drumroll, Tom Aspinall. Yes, you guessed it. Now, I do think we're going to see a full round of Tom Aspinall, though I will say that. I think if they stay striking for the first round, I think Cyril Gane can survive. I don't think he's a fish out of water on the feet. I think he's a really good striker. I do think Tom Aspinall will need to take, well, not will, but I think he is going to take the path of least resistance, and that's definitely going to be the wrestling. I do think Cyril Gane, we've seen him submitted by John Jones. We've seen how easy it is to take him down with Alexander Volkov. We've seen him lose in title fights, 0-2 in title fights. I think he's going to be 0-3, but I will say on the feet, it can definitely be interesting because Tom Aspinall, if you haven't watched, the striking from him, if you look at the Curtis Blades and the Sergey Pavlovich fight, he rolls his shoulders really well when he's, getting met with shots, but he also throws his chin all the way back in the air. And Cyril Gane, someone who has a really good, not a super large reach advantage over him, but he can, find his shots really well, does use long shots really well. I want to see how that exchange goes where we're seeing Tom Aspinall, roll with his chin up and what Cyril does in those moments because we've never seen, well, we've seen Aspinall clip, but we haven't seen him clipped by a super accurate striker like Cyril Gane. So I want to see what that looks like. I do think we're going to see a full round, but I do think Aspinall gets him by submission. I think he's going to take him down. I can see him getting to the body lock, and Cyril Gane, we know he cannot defend takedowns that great. So as many times as we've heard him talk about, oh, I've improved my grappling, I've improved my grappling, just looks like the same thing to me. So I got Cyril Gane getting taken down probably into round 1, into round 2, getting submitted by Tom Aspinall, and still champion Tom Aspinall. And Cyril Gane also shouldn't be here, man. He got gifted, this win against Alexander Volkov. He definitely didn't win. Should have been Volkov, Aspinall too. I think, him also focusing on movies outside of, training. That's why he was gone for, the 10 months that he was. He did a movie, I believe it's on Netflix or something like that, in this time. And I don't know, man. If it's a striking fight, which it's not because it's mixed martial arts, it could be interesting. But I think Tom Aspinall is going to use the striking to set up the grappling. He probably lull him to sleep thinking that, oh yeah, we're just going to strike. And then boom, he explodes because he's super explosive, gets to the hips, takes him down, and submits Cyril Gane. Into round 1, round 2. I'm hoping that we see a full round of Tom Aspinall just so we can see, okay, this is what he does in these type of moments. This is what he looks like after 3 minutes. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is, man. Tom Aspinall minus 400 plus 300 for Cyril Gane. Yeah, I mean, what else? What else is there to say? Over 1.5 minus 130, under plus 110. You could make some money on the under 1.5 because we know what Tom Aspinall does is buzz saw right through everybody. Open at plus 160. Over 2.5. I don't know. Fight goes the distance plus 400. Aspinall by decision plus 1200. If you think Cyril Gane can defend the takedowns and you think he's going to be able to survive on the feet, but Aspinall wins, plus 1200 isn't that bad. But when have we seen Tom Aspinall go to the decision in the UFC? You know what I'm saying? Aspinall KO minus 105. Aspinall submission plus 250. I think he gets it done by submission. If he knocks out Cyril Gane, and this dude is an absolute star because we saw what, John Jones, he took the path of least resistance. If Tom Aspinall walks through the fire and knocks out Cyril Gane. But those are the full card predictions for UFC 321. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of the picks. Let me know if you guys think I'm tripping on some of them. If you like the dogs more than some of the favorites, let me know in the comments what you guys got to say. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Share the video with your friends. Support if you would like. And I will see you guys all throughout this week. We got the lock of the week coming up on Wednesday. We got the weigh-in recap. And, of course, as soon as the fights are all over, we got the full card recap. So make sure you guys tune in. And I will see you guys later. Peace out. Thank you.